Hello, and welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Unfiltered. I'm your host, Dr. Armando Davila. I'm joined today with a special guest, one of our aestheticians, Chelsea Ali. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Today we're going to be talking about, well, really the new phase of rejuvenation for us. Mm-hmm. I called it in a previous episode, which we didn't finish airing, the death of the medical spa. Mm-hmm. And kind of our new approach to rejuvenation.
Yes.
How about you tell people a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your journey and what brought you here? We can start there. Just an introduction, I guess.
All right. Well, my name is Chelsea. I am a medical esthetician. Mm-hmm. And I came to PCPS with a lot of vast kind of different types of experiences. And I've always dreamed of having a place where I could marry a lot of the different things that I am passionate about together into aesthetics. And I've been able to do that here. I feel like I found my place where I'm in alignment with the people I'm working with, and we share a vision, and to treat the person as a whole human being, mind, body, and spirit. And that's exactly my approach to aesthetics.
Yeah, I think that, one of the things that in kind of the previous discussion that we had with Dr. Turer was this idea that the medical spa industry, for lots of political and economic reasons, has essentially moved to a commoditization model. And that's true because a lot of it has been bought up by private equity. Most of the med spas in the United States are actually private equity owned, or affiliate physician owned, as in private equity kind of owns the physician owns the practice. And, obviously not necessarily led by plastic surgeons because they're the minority of, there's not a lot of plastic surgeons compared to total number of physicians in the United States. And so by its nature, it's moved into that economic model of very much just you are buying a T-shirt, you are buying one filler, 10 unit Botox, one facial, and I do think that it's started to drift a little bit from really what people need for themselves, and that all of this is, a both physical but sort of spiritual and emotional journey, I think, for most people as well.
Yeah, I think the med spa has become, it's such a money grab. It's a money grab, and you see so many of them popping up, and so many of them also fading away very quickly. And I think that that's one thing that separates us. And anytime you're doing anything surface level, disingenuous, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. But when you focus on providing something that you believe the world needs, and you care for people in a deeper way and bring things that service their soul, not just the surface of their skin, you're doing something that's creating big change, and that's going to last.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect analogy for all of it too, right? That even when you're talking about approaching things from, and again, we've done this metaphorically, but also sort of realistically. We have removed the word spa from the organization. We've stuck with our terminology rejuvenation because I think rejuvenation can encompass both physical rejuvenation, appearance, how we portray ourselves to the world, but also rejuvenation of ourselves and our internal spirit, and I really think that's what we're trying to move people more into. I went to a, people go to, I guess what's the term, day spa? Is that what you call it, I guess? Sure. Or I know when you go to a hotel and you go to a spa, what kind of spa is that? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
a fancy hotel spa.
Fancy hotel spa, right? So I thought, what is the purpose? Why do you think someone goes to why would you go to let's call it a day spa, I guess?
To be cared for and to feel good.
Okay, feel good.
Right?
And so I said that to them. I was like, I come here, and the whole time they were asking me, are you comfortable? Is this too much pressure? Is this, is this painful? And I was like, gosh, we kind of do the opposite in kind of our center, right? This
Yes.
idea that most of things that grow people as people are painful
and uncomfortable.
And if you really want rejuvenation, there is going to be some of that where we explore something that may not be that comfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, like as an esthetician, like I feel like doing what I do, I always feel like I have one foot in each world, because I'm doing the feel good things, in some way. And I'm also doing the things that are pushing people and helping them out of their comfort zones and treatments that may not be comfortable, so that they can achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And I'm kind of marrying those two things. So, when somebody comes in to our rejuvenation center, I'm doing those treatments that are uncomfortable sometimes, but also I'm creating a space where that person can show up exactly as they are, be vulnerable, and talk about the things that they're struggling with. And I'm holding space for that person. So we're holding space for that person to be seen and heard and valued and cared for. So yeah, some of the components may be uncomfortable, but I feel like at the end of that person comes out feeling like they've built a true relationship with us, and they got that care all around, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, I mean, you and I briefly talked about meditation, and another one of our staff members talks about meditation a lot, and I've tried to think for me and what role meditation plays for me, right? I work in a high stress position. I need to have high levels of performance, and one of the things that happens, right, in those high levels of performance is a lot of the noise of the world kind of drowns away and you're very focused. And it's almost like sometimes surgery is my own meditative space because you can't think about very many things. I had a dance lesson last night, and we're learning tango, and I'm always stressed, about life. Before I go to the lesson, I'm always like, Allison, my wife Allison, is I'm going to cancel the lesson, because I've got too much to do. And I end up going. I stick with it. And it's one of those things where dance kind of takes up your entire brain energy, right? And so nothing else can occupy your mind. And so kind of that noise leaves. And I was thinking about that in terms of how we sometimes treat people, or how, when they come in and have treatments with us, kind of what I want them to feel, right? That we are just going to focus on what we're doing in the here and now, right? And sometimes that involves pain. Pain can draw you and get rid of noise to a certain extent. But it's sort of this thing which is supposed to draw as both a metaphor and physicality for achieving something more, right? And I think about some of my patients that are the most zen through some of these treatments, right? And it does feel like they've just got their stuff together. They're just like, oh, yes, I understand. And it feels like they know how to breathe. And it feels like they're doing their own meditation and own exploration while they're doing it, I don't know. You said you do some meditation. What do you think about that plays into your life?
Oh, well, it's very important for me, to keep with my meditation practice. That's, part of my journey personally. Awareness is, my virtue. Okay. And I feel like if I can be present and aware and remain that way throughout the day, it can help everything go smoothly, not just for me, but the people I'm interacting with. When you're interacting with somebody who is all over the place, their eyes are darting when you're talking to them. You look at their breathing, their shallow, rapid breathing, how are you going to feel with that person? That energy is contagious too. So if my job is to hold space for people and to treat people and give people a safe place when they're coming into my treatment room, that's a safe place for those people. I need to be a safe place too. And I need to be a safe place for myself.
Oh, sure.
And we do work in an industry where it can be high stress and it's high pressure. So meditation is very important for me. Different breathing exercises, get that vagus nerve activated, and so that I can be the person I want to be as I'm walking through my life.
I love that you mentioned the vagus nerve, right? Which is, so vagus is a cranial nerve, right? Cranial nerve 10. And, there's not many nerves that leave our, we have our brain, and our brain has our spinal cord. And obviously our spinal cord carries a lot of messages to our peripheral body, right? And a lot of the nerves, even in our gut and stuff, have their own spinal tracks. But the vagus nerve is one of those nerves. It's the longest cranial nerve. And it travels directly from the brain all the way to our most important organs, our heart and our lungs, okay? And that vagus nerve is used to regulate, help us breathe, and help us control our heart rate. And so I think it's no surprise that we were made that way, that our heart and our lungs and our breathing have a direct single connection to our brain, and how important that is to kind of regulate. And I'm sure it does actually have feedback loops, and I like that you mentioned that. That's
and there's like information from the gut that travels into that nerve that goes to the brain, and it's like
that's another one, more complicated one, but
but it's so cool. Like, it's so knowing about these things, right? And like having your own practice with meditation or self-work and breathing. I mean, we can share that with our patients too. It's just another tool we have to bring to the table, I think.
I think one of the things that I struggle with as kind of the CEO and the visionary of this space is that people are busy too. I'm a busy professional, and I want to be able to take care of myself, and sometimes there's not as much time as I would like. Yeah. And I always want to make this space accessible to people who don't, maybe I don't have 3 hours to come in and receive several treatments and, rely just on vacation, right? And I think about how sometimes it's not, it can be inaccessible because of that, right? And so I do think that there's still some space for people who want to take a abbreviated individual moment, but want to stick with us on a journey, right? And I also want to make sure that that is accessible to people. Yeah, you only have your 15 minutes for your Botox. We understand, right? But understand that we're going to build this over time and space rather than a single concentrated moment, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
And I know that as I sort of built this thing, I've been thinking about myself a lot. How would I consume these things? How would I approach this? But still make sure that I understand that none of this is a quick fix.
Right.
It has to occur over time and space.
Yeah, which is another thing that I think that promotes longevity, for our model of the way we do business here, because it is not a one-time fix. It's not a quick fix. So you are on a journey with us, and it's all about that. And that's, I think looping back to that med spa concept where it's just come and pay for this and then maybe go somewhere else and catch the next special. I mean, those places aren't going to last. They're not serving the person as a whole being. When you come on a journey with us, we're caring for you. We're getting to know you. We're in that journey with you. So. Yeah,
I mean, and I think that that's where you see a lot of these things where you say, oh, they're botched and they're chasing this thing. And it really is that this sort of hop from place to place where at any moment, things didn't align with your center, like who you are, like what you're looking for and what you're really trying to move forward with. And when someone starts a journey, like any journey, they can be rocky, right? And that doesn't mean that the rest of the journey isn't going to be good. It's just that people are getting to know each other and getting to know what that person needs out of this experience. So that's a big thing. I wanted to jump over to Eastern medicine versus Western medicine. I don't know. Do you have any? You said like you have something initial to say.
I love the topic.
So this is a little history lesson. I don't know if you know this story, but the plastic surgery is pretty rich in history. It's debatable, but it's considered one of the oldest types of surgery that has existed in written history. And the first documented textbook of plastic surgery was actually, or surgery period, was written in 3000 BC by, it was a textbook written in Sanskrit called the Sushruta Samhita. And, back in 3000 BC, there's no anesthetics, there's no antibiotics, there's none of this stuff, right? So you can't really operate on internal organs or any of that stuff. So most of surgery was done on the skin, right? And that's what plastic surgeons are, surgeons of the skin. Like your dermatologist is your medical doctor of the skin, where they do some surgery. But and so in this book was all these pictures, all these diagrams talking about plastic surgery techniques. There's actually a method of nasal reconstruction called the Indian method of nasal reconstruction, which is still used today. So that is 5,000 years old and still almost identically done that way.
That's so cool.
And so, I think a lot about how some of the principles of modern plastic surgery emerged in Eastern sort of philosophies and Eastern thought processes. And so I'm big on the marriage of these two things. Are there other Eastern medical elements that you bring to your practice? And
I mean, this is so cool that we're talking about this, though, because people don't know that.
Okay.
People don't know that.
Plastic surgery.
Yeah. I mean, people look at it as this modern, crazy thing, like what you see on TV, especially in America, right? But no, I love that you're shining light on that history and the marriage of these two philosophies and cultures. So I'm really big into plant medicine and herbal medicine, which I should be careful with my words there because that's taken on a new meaning these days. But I started learning about natural remedies and natural medications when I was very young. My mom would take us to different Native American celebrations. We have that in our lineage, so she wanted to make sure we learned about it. And I will never forget the first medicinal plant I learned about. I was like maybe 10. And this Native American man, was speaking about the plantain plant. It's a weed that grows in everybody's yard. Actually, your Metamucil is made from the fibers of this plant. Okay. So it's the common plantain, broadleaf plantain. But the leaf, he was explaining, if you crush this leaf up, here's how you do it. You chew it, you get the juices flowing from the leaf. If you have a bee sting, you put it on that bee sting, and it actually does draw out the venom. You can save somebody's life with this plant. And everybody thinks, we spray it with Roundup.
Yeah, we spray it with a poison
right?
to get rid of it that ends up in our water, and then we drink it. Yeah.
When we have a reaction, it's wild. But a light bulb went off for me, and that was when I really became in love with learning about the medicines that have been here for thousands of years that people have used. So I began my journey with plant medicine and herbalism, and I took classes, became an herbalist. I had an apothecary for a while. I made tinctures, blend teas, different ways to treat people. And then as an esthetician, I was like, I want to know what these plants do in the skin. What do these do at a cellular level that they do for the organs of the body? What do they do for the skin cells? So I became obsessed with learning about that. I went to formulation school, learned how to formulate organic skincare. And I really got to marry those two things. So, it's not, when it comes to Eastern medicine or natural medicine and then modern medicine, I always say it's not an either or.
It's not.
It's a both and. I had a friend the other day tell me, she's very into essential oils. She's very into natural things, as am I. But she really wanted to try Botox, and she felt so conflicted about it. And she was like, I don't know. She has a community of people who are in the natural stuff with her. And she came to me, she was like, I don't know. I really want to try it, but my friend says it's so bad. And I was like, look, it's not. I said that to her. I said, it's not an either or. It's a both and. We have amazing innovations in medicine and aesthetic medicine, that are safe, and it's okay to do that. And you can use your frankincense too. It's marry the two. In Western culture, we swing the pendulum way too far either way.
Yes.
We're in the extremes.
It has to be one or the other.
And Eastern philosophy and Buddhism find that middle path.
What is this phrase you said? And
It's not an either or, it's a both and.
Both and. Gosh, I just love that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that, you know, you talk about things like Botox, right? I mean, and people, I don't think always realize, you know, Botox, right? It is short for botulinum toxin. Again, technically speaking, botulinum toxin is a toxin produced by a type of bacteria, and it is of the most potent poisons on the planet.
Yes.
You know, the innovation of using Botox, it's not about creating the Botox molecule. It exists in nature, right? So it's literally a natural substance, and there's nothing else in the bottle. I mean, there's some carrier like proteins and stuff like that, but there's not that much. Really, the innovation was figuring out how to get in that little bottle the tiny amount of the. It looks invisible. If you open a Botox bottle before it's been filled with fluid, it just looks like there's nothing in there. That's what the whole operation costs. That's why your Botox costs so much money. Being able to have the system that doesn't poison everyone in working around it and manages to put it in those bottles is quite difficult. But it is theoretically a natural substance, and we talk about, okay, well, it's a poison. Yeah, so is how antivenom works, and so is all these other things.
So many poisons we've turned into medicine.
So many poisons turned into medicine, and but they're natural, and in overuse, sure, they can be deadly. In smaller quantities, can be useful. You know, we do sort of use arnica in our practice, right? I even think about our surgical patients. We use this super high-tech medication that is relatively new to the market, but has been studied for the last 20-something years. It's the brand name's called Jernavix. And Jernavix is like a sodium channel pain receptor blocker. So it literally stops the nerve from sending the signal, but it isolates only a very specific type of pain nerve. And I was reading about kind of how its discovery came about. And again, it comes from the analysis of a poison, right? Scorpion venom. Scorpions apparently their venom doesn't cause as much pain because they actually simultaneously inject its prey with this thing which acts as the same blocker, and therefore the prey doesn't even sort of realize it's been stung, and then it eventually passes or gets paralyzed, and then the scorpion can consume it. But the study of the knowledge of those things enables us to package it in a little pill, and now my patients can have surgery narcotic free, right?
It's incredible.
And again, narcotic, it's a natural, comes from the opioid, the poppy plant, but is addictive. So it's developed catastrophic consequences in the United States and around the world, not because itself is bad, but because of the things it can do in overuse and consumption. So I love marrying advanced technology that may come from natural origins, and then, other things. Again, most of my patients, if they have a small opening or wound or don't heal as quickly for whatever reason, the first thing I turn to is not antibiotics and more surgery. The first thing I turn to is a flower, gentian violet, right? Which is a natural antimicrobial. It has some toxic properties, but also some healing properties. So I love marrying. Say it one more time. It's not either or.
It's a both and.
Both and. I think that's the lesson for today.
Yeah.
It's a both and. So I think we'll continue to kind of do that here at this practice and for the rest of our patients. So,
and allowing people to find that middle path. You know, they don't have to be an extremist on either side. It's not East versus West. It's not plant versus modern. It's you find your middle path.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do. So we've what we've really restructured, and we're having a reopening actually of our rejuvenation center, and there's been some physical remodeling to the space, but I don't think that's totally the point. What we've really remodeled is our approach, where we're going to have people come in, meet them where they are, wherever they are in their journey, wherever they are in their life, and then find them what works for them, what marriage and where they want to lie on this spectrum. And find what's right for them. So
it's going to be a beautiful thing.
It's going to be. I'm super excited. So I hope people join us, and and we'll see them soon.
Yes.
So, well, Chelsea, thank you so much for joining me here today, and it's just been a pleasure to work with you over the last couple months, and we've got so much exciting stuff coming over the next months, and it's going to be a great relationship. So
thank you.
Thank you for being here.
So happy to be here. Thank you.
We'll see everyone next time.